Yo, what's up, Blackish fam? I hope all is well in your corner of the world. Man, I got a notification that Russ put out some new music, something called What Are Y'all? I like that he's been constantly putting out new music, but man, a lot of the new artists have been releasing music, and they're only like 2 minutes. And it's like, man, what happened to a song being 4 minutes, 5 minutes, different verses, features? I feel like a lot of the new stuff I'm getting to, it's like 2 minutes, 15 seconds, right? Look, this is right here. It's under 2 minutes. What type of song is this, right? Yo, let's check it out. Are there two of me?
Yeah. What are y'all? Yeah. Used to think my takeoff time was a delayed departure. Trust the journey. If you rush it, you gon' make it harder. You can lose your place when you try to flip the.
Just really tripping me out that there's two of me in this picture. At least I'm seeing two. But yeah, let's go through with it, right? It just I don't mind seeing me, right? Run it back. Beat is a little different.
Yeah. What are y'all? Yeah. Used to think my takeoff time was a delayed departure. Trust the journey. If you rush it, you gon' make it harder. You can lose.
He's talking about, we all know he's an independent artist, right? He said, man, I used to think my takeoff, right? Me ascending or my tipping point of my career. He's playing, there's some wordplay there with takeoff, airplane, a delayed departure, right? But now he knows that his time has come, right?
Your place when you try to flip the pages for a late departure. Trust the journey. If you rush it, you gon' make it harder. You can lose your place when you try to flip the pages for the 700,000 foot.
You can lose your place when you try to flip the pages farther. And when you try to jump the gun and go too far before your time, you can really mess things up, right? It's important to grow organically. And man, there's always some get rich scheme quick, right? Get rich scheme, get rich quick scheme. I knew I said that off, but there's always something. Even now, we started this YouTube channel right at the start of 2022. And man, you got to see how many emails and calls I get. We can get you 5,000 subscribers for $20. We can get you 100,000. It's like, why would I want people that don't share the same interests as me, right? The whole purpose of this isn't to make money and have this huge fan base of people that don't interact with me. I want to build a community of people that are having intellectual conversation about music and lyrics and what things mean, and try to talk about social change, right? It's a platform. I don't want just people for the sake of numbers, right? That's not organic. That would be taking shortcuts. But yo, when you push it, you're going to make it harder on yourself.
Now that's the latest offer. Harder, you can lose your place when you try to flip the pages for the 700,000 for an hour. That's the latest offer. I put the work and had it.
That's just ugly. 700,000 for an hour of his time. That's the latest offer. Think about that, man. Ugly.
Place when you try to flip the pages for the 700,000 for an hour. That's the latest offer. I put the work and had to earn my credentials. I wrote the book on independence. I'm on my third presidential. It's essential. I shut up. It's what y'all think, right? But standing down never really sit right. Big fight coming up.
Listen to the wordplay there, right? He wrote the book on independence, playing on Independence Day, right? Or the Declaration of Independence. He said, I'm on my third presidential, right? Just listen to wordplay, right? He starts talking about about standing down. He said, it's essential that I shut up, right? Well, what did he say? It's what y'all think, right? But standing down never really sit right, right? So it's the wordplay there, but it's low key, but it's tight.
Essential, I shut up. It's what y'all think, right? But standing down never really sit right. Big fight coming up. Me versus myself. The people champion. They.
Bro, I always tell people the real fight that you're gonna the face in life is always the battle against yourself, right? You should never try to do better than other people. Try to do better than you, right? Try to do better, be better than you were yesterday, right? I like to reference this poem. I don't know that I've ever done it in a Russ song, but it normally comes up in Marlon Craft. It's one of my favorite poems. It's called "The Man in the Mirror." I don't even know who wrote this poem. I came across it when I was in my 20s, and I've always saved it. I've always referenced it. But it talks about you being comfortable with who you are, right? So the Man in the Mirror poem goes like this. It says, when you get all you want in your struggle for self, and the world makes you king for a day, then go to the mirror and look at yourself and see what that man has to say. For it isn't your mother, your father, or wife whose judgment upon you must pass, but the man whose verdict counts most in your life is the one staring back from the glass. He's the fellow to please, never mind all the rest, for he's with you right to the end, and you've passed your most difficult test if the man in the glass is your friend. And then it says, you may be like Jack Horner and chisel a plum and think you're a wonderful guy, but the man in the glass says you're only a bum if you can't look him straight in the eye. You can fool the whole world down the highway of years and take pats on the back as you pass, but your final reward will be heartache and tears if you've cheated the man in the glass. All right, and I always think about that. It's like being comfortable with who you are, because that's the person you have to live with, right? Man, run that back. I'm dropping more bars than Russ in this bad boy.
Was standing down, never really sit right. Big fight coming up, me versus myself. The people champion, there ain't no reverse in my belt. I keep on earning wealth, they no telling where the roof is. Staying on the straight and narrow, curving rappers' muses. Limits our illusions, and I'm Bradley Cooper. Watching Trey drop 40 court size, so
Whoa, he's dropping some knowledge there.
there ain't no reverse in my belt. I keep on earning wealth, they no telling where the roof is. Staying on the straight and narrow, curving rappers' muses. Limits our illusions, and I'm Bradley Cooper. Watching Trey drop 40 court size, so close I can alley-oop you. Haven't taken Uber in years. On my drop,
Yeah, he said muses.
where the roof is. Staying on the straight and narrow, curving rappers' muses.
Curving rappers' muses. A muse, right? You could use it in a different way, but I'm talking about Greek goddesses, right? I like Greek mythology. I was doing this breakdown for Aesop Rock. We were in Icarus came up. For those that know Greek mythology, the story of the tragic fall of Icarus, right? And it was important to reference that because in Aesop Rock, he has that track Daylight, and he actually brings up Icarus, and it's so relevant to the breakdown. It's so funny how these little parts of your life all come together when you're doing breakdowns and trivia, and you could reference certain things. I love that. But muses, they were Greek goddesses, right? They were poetic inspiration. They were deities of song, of dance, of memory, but they helped with creativity, wisdom, and insight. These are artists would depend on these muses. It's like, you're my dapper, you're my muse, my da-da-da-da-da, my rhythm and blues, right? That's what they're referring to.
I keep on earning wealth, they no telling where the roof is. Staying on the straight and narrow, curving rappers' muses. Limits our illusions, and I'm Bradley Cooper. Watching Trey drop.
Limits are illusions, and I'm Bradley Cooper, right? He's referring to that movie that he was in called Limitless. If you guys didn't see Limitless, highly recommend it. I don't really go into movies. I don't honestly watch movies or TV that much. But Limitless, that's just it's a classic. It's actually, I guess you would consider it an action thriller. But it's about this writer who's kind of down and out, right? Stereotypical writer, and he takes this experimental drug that allows him to use 100% of his mind. All right, you think about if people say you only use a fraction of your mind. If we were able to use the majority of our mind, there's no limit to what we're capable of. But Bradley Cooper, he's this out of work writer, and then he basically becomes this overnight millionaire because he's taking advantage of the intellect, right? Or he's taking advantage of being a really intelligent. He has a very clear mind. And then all the things that he gets into in the movie. It's really a thriller because there's these people out to get him because they want access to that drug because of what it represents, what it can do for your life. Quality movie, but Bradley Cooper's in it. It's called Limitless. That's why he said limits are illusions, and I'm Bradley Cooper.
Staying on the straight and narrow, curving rappers' muses. Limits our illusions, and I'm Bradley Cooper. Watching Trey drop 40 court size, so close I can alley-oop you. Haven't taken Uber in years.
He's big boy talk, right? He said, I'm watching Trey drop 40 court side, right? He's talking about the NBA. He said, so close I could alley-oop you, right? Alley-oop is when you throw it towards the rim and somebody comes through. Boom, right? It's like an assist, but you're throwing it up to get the dunk. But it means if I could alley-oop you, I'm sitting close enough. Right, I'm sitting courtside, like, yo, what up, fam? Right?
Cooper, watching Trey drop 40 court size, so close I can alley-oop you. Haven't taken Uber in years. All my drivers with suits, every drink is a cheers. Predicted this, I'm a seer, can operate out of fear.
Hey, big boy talk, right? He said, man, I ain't taken an Uber in years. All my drivers wear suits, right? I'm being chauffeured. We're at different levels. There's levels to this, right? He said, every drink is a cheer, right? We have something to celebrate all the time. He said, predicted this. I'm a seer. right? You don't really hear seer in everyday just conversation. A seer is a person who's supposed to be able through forces that are supernatural, they can see what the future holds. That's called a seer, right? A more basic, simple explanation would be a psychic.
Yeah, I choose up on my drivers with suits. Every drink is a cheers. Predicted this, I'm a seer. Can operate out of fear. I choose optimism. Universe be talking, so I gotta listen. Trying to work it out with her. She end up in the squat position. Me, I'm doing hip thrust. Then I get my ripping up the.
Listen to what he said, right? He said, I'm trying to work it out with her, right? Like you work on a relationship, but also he's playing on doing a workout, right? Like a literal workout. He says she end up in the squat position, right? Imagine someone doing a squat. The position they're in is almost like they're pooping. He said, me, I'm doing hip thrusts, right? So she's in the squat position and you're over there smashing from the bottom looking up, right? Just hitting it. All right now, all right.
Trying to work it out with her. She end up in the squat position. Me, I'm doing hip thrust. Then I get my ripping up the script of the industry's guidelines.
Slob on my knob like corn on the cob. Then, right? That's an old school rap. But he's talking about getting it sucked, right?
Squat position, me, I'm doing hip thrust. Then I get my ripping up the script of the industry's guidelines and rules. They don't want me in the game, just sidelines and rules. Not a closet of clauses. How come all the workers keep on talking like bosses?
Big boy talk completely, right? He said, I'm ripping up the script. There's no rules to what I'm doing. And, it reminds me of a quote I heard years ago. It said, yo, if you're out here trying to get a Lamborghini, don't ask advice for people that are only driving a Corolla, right? You can insert anything in there, right? Don't ask if you want to buy a 16-unit building. Don't be the understudy of someone who's still living in his mama's basement, right? There's levels to this. Like there's levels to the game. Like there's levels to building credit. I hear people like, yo, man, I got 600 credit, bro. I'm about to go snap and buy me credit's not the only thing that means something, but also, bro, a 600 score is not that good. It's great if you're coming from a 450 and you're improving your credit, but normally you need at least a 640 score to just be qualified for certain things, and you're not in this kind of secondary market, right? But good credit is one thing, but there's also ways that you can flip money and make money work for you, and a lot of people don't talk about that. But I love that he has this insight where he's like, yo, I'm ripping up the script, bro. Nobody knows how to do this because people aren't doing this, right? Like he said earlier, I think he referenced his masters, right? What are masters? That's owning the rights to your work, your back catalog. If you own that, you own something that's worth something that you can pass down. A lot of people's favorite artists, they're working under a label that's working under a label that's working under a label. What happens when you get a big check? You're splitting that money 3, 4, 5 different ways. When somebody people might say, man, Russ doesn't get that much play. He's in hundreds of thousands of views. Some of them are in the millions, but he's not getting 100 million views. Yeah, but the person getting 100 million views is still splitting that money so many ways. You might be pretty surprised to understand what Russ makes and what he's taking home at the end of the day, right? Compared to your favorite artist.
Just sidelines and rules, not a closet of clauses. How come all the workers keep on talking like bosses? I'm a star though, regardless of the narrative.
How come all the workers out here talking like bosses, right? Just because you got a Benz, just because you got a couple big checks, don't mean you're out here like a boss, right? If you can't make moves, if you can't work independently, if you don't have creative control of your work, are you really a boss, right? Who are you answering to? If you can answer that question, you're not no boss, bro. You might be a boss bitch, right? Hot girl summer, boo-boo.
Closet of clauses. How come all the workers keep on talking like bosses? I'm a star though, regardless of the narrative. If you don't own your music, I'm not hearing comparisons. Man, this shit is embarrassing.
Right? He references this at being independent on a lot of his songs. And a lot of people, I'm sure it comes off a little bit arrogant, but he just said, I'm not, if you don't own your music, I'm not hearing comparisons. So there's that play on hearing, right, or listening to music. But again, owning your rights, owning your masters, that means that you have the legal right to make money off your recordings, right? If you know YouTube, you upload YouTube and there's copyright, right? Somebody owns the rights to this work. If you own your masters, you own the legal right to make money from your recording. You can collect royalties. You can get licensing. You can use your music for film, for TV, for advertisements. There's a lot of different things you can do when you own the rights to your brand and your music.
I don't care who the hottest are. You cannot sell out an arena by yourself in America and somewhere overseas. You are not a star. Overlooking me doesn't change shit.
He said, is that a world tour or your girl tour, right? If you can't sell out arenas, then are you a hot artist, right? Are you a star? You claim, are you riding a wave? Because, I always say this, if you're riding a wave will inevitably crash, right? If you're riding some sort of wave of pop culture, those people are eventually going to grow up and get out of that stage, and you're going to be left sitting there with your surfboard, thought you were on a wave. That wave ended. Now you're just a normal, average Joe-ass dude. And, you got to come to the terms with the fact that you're probably ugly, right? I don't know. I'm just talking shit, but...
By yourself in America and somewhere overseas, you are not a star. Overlooking me doesn't change shit. I'm the modern day prince. Face it, I'm free. Look at me. Look how easy I breathe. Your career's on life support. It's clear you need the machine. I rage against it. Killing in the name of independence.
As a reference to Rage Against the Machine, right? He said, your career's on life support. It's clear you need the machine, right? Somebody on the machine, it's helping them breathe. It's keeping them alive. And he said, I rage against the machine, right? Rage Against the Machine, that's an American rock band. Of course, they're from LA, right? Who isn't? But they were formed in the early 90s, and they had, Zach De La Roca, Tom Morello, Brad Wilk, right? These are, they were, their songs were about, it was like revolutionary political views, right? But that was Rage Against the Machine from the early 90s. I don't know how relevant they are today. I'm surprised he knew it.
Independence, which threatens. Careers on life support. It's clear you need the machine. I rage against it. Killing in the name of independence, which threatens the evil empire. So respect is obligatory. This a classic like a Christmas.
Obligatory. It's really easy to think that means obligated, but it's more like you're demanding respect. You've earned it. It's coming. You have to oblige, right? But killing in the name of independence. Look right now, right? What's going on in the UK and Russia is happening right now. This is history happening around us.
Watching these adults swim upstream to get streams.
What's playing in the background as he's rapping?
You need the machine.
Give me a shout out if somebody's in the booth right there. Let me know if you guys recognize that. I don't know what it is. I'm actually really curious. It's some random trivia. I just gotta know.
Rage against it, killing in the name.
Kanye? Is that older Kanye?
Of independent.
He's got that kind of Kanye bop, right? That Kanye shrug. Right.
Which threatens the evil empire, so respect is obligatory. This a classic like a Christmas story. Watching these adults swim upstream to get streams.
A Christmas story you gotta watch every year, right? It's a classic.
So respect is obligatory. This a classic like a Christmas story. Watching these adults swim upstream to get streams is comedy like Rick and Morty. And sometimes
listen to the wordplay, right? He just referenced Adult Swim. And he also referenced Rick and Morty. Everything you should know, Rick and Morty, that's just great comedy, man. The comedy on that. My son put me on Rick and Morty, and I was just like, what the fuck did he just say? Like, it's just sick, right? It's adult humor. That's what Adult Swim is. I just love that.
Like a Christmas story. Watching these adults swim upstream to get streams.
Oh, but he played Adult Swim about people trying to swim upstream to get streams, right? Streaming music.
Comedy like Rick and Morty. And sometimes I feel like fuck them all. Cause if a Forbes is cash king, 6 times platinum, 20 plaques in arenas packed in, isn't a star, then what are y'all?
Yo, I like it.
Cash king, 6 times platinum, 20 plaques in arenas packed in, isn't a star, then what are y'all?
Yo. All right, Russ, that's that big boy talk, right? He's saying like, I'm a star. I'm independent. Making moves, making my own beats, producing my own tracks. I'm a star. And it's kind of hard to argue with that, right? I'm a fan of Russ, man, especially that Chomp 2. I listened to it. It was just different from his earlier work. I would always say, he flows good for an independent artist, right? Kind of like what you do to women in hip hop. Man, she's sick for a woman in hip hop, right? You give them these weird conditions. And I think anytime we hear a white boy rapper, right, or somebody who's just non-black, we always say like, yeah, he's good, but I don't know, right? You just kind of, but when you hear Russ singing, when you hear him producing, making his own beat, it's like, man, that dude's doing too much. But I heard Chomp 2, and I was, listen to the bars, listen to the wordplay, because, I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with me, but you can take Russ's wordplay and the complexity is not as complex as Aesop Rock, right? Or even a Marlon Craft or a Toby Wigway. But his flow and the commercial hits and the beats, man, there's not a lot of people that can make music like that, and there's not a lot of music out there that sounds like Russ. And yo, that could be the foundation of an excellent future. Yo, if you're a fan of Russ or you're just a fan of intellectual music, intellectual breakdowns, make sure you show some love by liking the video, but also subscribing to the channel. I believe earlier today we just hit 600 subscribers, which is awesome because we just got started at the start of the year. So we're only a few weeks in, about 2 months into the game right now, and we're really trying to grow this platform. So really appreciate the support from everyone, and man, hope to see you on the next video.